So I've been in church my whole life, always hearing about prayer, always being told prayer is good, you should pray, you should do this. I remember my first tape that I ever got was MC Hammer and the song Pray on it. And you got to pray just to make it today. But never really meant anything. Like, what does that mean? What does it mean to pray? What does it mean to have a conversation with God? So I opened up the first book I saw, Holy Fire by R.T. Kendall. Started reading, and within the first half an hour, it was like a big smack upside the head from God. And he challenged, R.T. wrote in there, and he challenged that we need to be praying, especially as followers of Jesus, at least 30 minutes a day, praying or being with God and his word. But if you're in ministry, an hour, and if you can do it 2 hours, because that's what these others have done, and things happen. Obviously, I felt this challenge that I needed to pray. Couldn't do 2 hours. There's no way I could do 2 hours. But an hour I felt I could do. And so, to me, that's just time with God, in his word, reading. And it took a while to get to that hour. And some days just didn't happen. It was too tough. But I did my best. It's just talking to God. And I think for everybody it looks differently. Some people, you can be walking down the road, having conversation in your head or out loud, whatever, and having that conversation with them. For me, I need my space. I've made my sanctuary that I go to, that I sit down and I journal. For me, it's writing it out. And whether it's a full out written prayer or just asking God a question, listening, hearing his answer, writing that out. And of course, I got to come back to it, make sure that it was his voice that I'm hearing. And just like his word says, like the sheep know the shepherd's voice. And the more I do it, the more I know his voice. But dealing with the stuff that we need to deal with to create that open avenue just to converse with God, it's so important. When Rob Reamer was here, he talked about our suitcase full of stuff. And so it's dealing with this baggage and stuff that I hadn't thought about in 25 years. Why would I think about it then? But it had to be dealt with. See, I have issues. I have sin in my life. But the root of that sin isn't always how it comes out. So I had to deal with that root. And ever since then, again, things are different. It's like that baggage. The suitcase was emptied and the Holy Spirit moved in. And now hearing God's voice is phenomenal. And just sitting and saying, God, what do you have for me? Every morning, what do you have for me today? Oh man, when God looks down at me, he just loves me. He's smiling, he's proud. And that's something I ask him. Because some days when you don't feel it, and you just say, God, what do you see when you look at me? And how do you feel? And he says, I love you and I'm proud of you.